Much I want to bet he doesn't show up. Can't wait for all the excuses. Not like he got a job or anything. I mean, what really could he be doing? It ain't working. It ain't getting educated. It ain't spending time with friends and family. He ain't got that. Got all the time in the world. He knows what happens when he comes in here. He knows what happens every single time. Oh, he's called me out on numerous occasions, but he claims that he doesn't want to come into Discord because it's a dog pile. Well, it's just me and him. Watch him run. Every 10 minutes that pass is a point for me. I'm not in any channel in Discord. I just posted the link in Dragoon chat. It's only for certain folks to send him. He responds to certain folks. Lucas, the challenge is just me answering his challenge. He claimed that he wanted to have a discussion with me, a one-on-one, so I'm offering him the opportunity. Any barrels bedded have to be blue and they have to be stackable. He can't say he hadn't been allotted or afforded the opportunity. All right, so another person has sent him some information about this hangout. Yeah, no, he doesn't know that Discord, you can just have one-on-one talks to people. He doesn't know how Discord works, so. I'm going to stay for as long as this video plays, about 34 minutes. Well, this music. I think half an hour is plenty of time. Oh, yeah, he'll probably go live and make excuses. I think if I do this once a week, that'll be enough material for later. I've already been exposed to the Black Hebrew Israelites several times. Oh yeah, no, you bet 10 drag coins, he'll do a live later.
Yeah, I'm in a room now, so let's.
Oh, there he is! Look at that! Oh man, he showed up. Man, you find your ball somewhere? What happened? Who gave him back to you? Was it Veckel? Did he keep him in his purse? No. Okay. Well, so you wanted my attention so bad that I set aside time. You complained. Oh my God, for 3.5 hours while I was in the kitchen cooking for my family about how I'm not a man, and oh my goodness, all this, that, and the other. And honey, let me tell you, I got a good laugh. So here I am. I'm listening.
Okay. So I'm trying to get your attention.
You literally made a 3.5 hour long video challenging my manhood. I'm pretty sure that was the title as well.
Just give me a second here. Hold on. All right, now, if you're gonna do this, man, I want you to put some effort into this today, man, because you're getting your butt handed to you, and I haven't even said nothing yet.
Of course.
The last 80% of your YouTube channel in the last 1.5 years is you talking about me, and I'm trying to get your attention.
I'm referring to so this is called context. The context is recently. That's a new word for you to add to your word list. Context.
Oh, okay, recently. Okay, so recently, no, I have not been trying to get your attention.
You did make a 3.5 hour long video trying to get me to come into a hangout?
No. I called you out. You obviously wasn't coming in there, and I talked about different things.
So that wasn't trying to get my attention. Trying to get me into a hangout wasn't trying to get my attention. Am I understanding that right?
I didn't talk about you for 3.5 hours.
Oh, only 2 hours. I'm sorry. I'm mistaken, folks. I'm mistaken.
Yeah, so that's about 1.5 hours you were off. I thought you was good at math.
I'm better at math than you. I didn't listen to you.
Well, you probably are. You probably are. There's a difference.
I'm taking calculus and stats, but I'm pretty sure your mental exercises are nothing.
Well, here's the thing, Drag. What do you want? You called me out. You're challenging my womanhood. You said, right?
Yes. Yeah. You don't have manhood. Men don't look like you. So
men don't look like me. Okay.
So you look like a charred Russian 17-year-old gymnast.
Great. So what do you want to talk about?
So let's talk whatever you want. We can go with vitamin B17 if you want to.
No, we ain't got to talk about vitamin B17.
Okay.
Show. You called me out. You supposed to have a topic. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about vitamin B17.
Okay, great. So what do you know about it?
Cool. So I know that it's a molecule called amygdalin. Right. I know what it does when it hits your liver and certain enzymes. Do you?
Well, apparently it supposedly from the scientific perspective, it attacks healthy cells as well as cancerous cells at the same time.
Really? Where'd you hear about that?
I don't know, DTV and a couple of your secular sources, as well as some other alternative health sources as well.
Alternative health sources?
The drunken peasants, and I had a so-called expert try to talk to me about it.
Really? Did this expert have a formal education?
He was a drunken peasant, and he has a degree in biology, according to him. Now, if you're saying that this atheist doesn't know anything, then totally, me and you on the same page right now. Me and you
I have no idea.
You guy's a dummy. I totally agree with you.
I didn't say he was a dummy. I just asked for his qualifications. I have no idea.
Did you graduate yet?
I actually do have a degree. I'm working on my second one. Are you asking about my second degree?
Did you change your mind about diet and exercise not being able to prevent you?
That's a perfect topic. Yes. So I want you to repeat.
I know you're trying to entertain these
position. I want you to repeat my actual position on this topic. Go for it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just saying, have you changed your mind about that?
Now, my statement, I want you to pay very close attention. Okay.
Why don't you actually play your statement?
So my statement, all right, is that diet and exercise will not prevent someone from having cancer. It won't. Mm-hmm. Because people are, get this, born with cancer sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So you disagree with scientists and doctors then?
You understand?
You review every video I make. You must disagree with the doctors and the scientists that said that diet and exercise prevents cancer.
Help prevent cancer or prevent cancer, Gman. There's a difference.
No, prevent cancer or can you help prevent cancer? If you want,
those are two vastly different things. There's an operative word. There's an operative word in there. Help. Do you understand that?
Yeah, it's called.
Yeah, the words change the meaning.
And you're playing semantics right now. I haven't even been in here for 10 minutes yet.
Why are you looking at your wrist? You don't have a watch.
I don't need a watch here. It can be symbolic.
That's what symbolism is now, man. You've been grown.
Why are you being so literal?
Oh, okay. So let me try to explain something to you. Okay.
How many times have you read it?
Out of the two,
how many times have you read the Bible before?
Gman, why are you changing the subject? Why are you moving?
Because I'm saying it's kind of a mute topic already, and you've already been destroyed on this. And you already showed that you don't know
topic, not mute topic, moot topic. If you're going to use words, words have different meanings, Gman. You do realize that, right?
Have you ever heard of slang before?
Slang, that's not slang. You just don't know what the word means. There is no slang for the word.
There's more than one language besides the English language.
Yes, there is, but there's no slang for mute.
So let's talk. If you want to say whatever, I can say whatever I want in terms of how
you are free to butcher the English language as you see fit.
You can say whatever you want about that. You haven't proven that diet and exercise does not prevent cancer. What you have done is be a good comedian and a good entertainer.
I will prove it. Okay. So you want me to prove to you that, right? You want me to demonstrate that?
Oh yeah, and I'll show you the doctors and the scientists that called you a liar to your face.
So do you know that neonates are born with cancer?
What is a neonate?
A baby fresh out of the pussy.
Oh, okay. So you don't care if children are. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you were atheist.
Are you changing the subject? Or are we?
No, children should cuss. So you can't talk like an adult, like a mature adult. Like how old are you?
This is how adults talk. When you when you actually do something with your life and you get around real men, they talk a little rough. I know you're not used to that sort of thing, but
like, how old are you? I'm like in my 40s.
I'm 31 and I have a pretty good life so far. You're almost 50 and you've done well.
To have an adult conversation.
Well, when I'm talking to an adult, I have an adult conversation.
Is your kid home or is your kid in school listening to you talk like that?
Actually, he can listen to me talk like this any day of the week.
Exactly what I just said earlier.
One of us actually has a kid and the other has to make up having a kid.
But anyway, go ahead and explain your fake science.
So there's literally 45 minutes away from me, a hospital full of children with cancer. Did they not exercise enough in the womb? Like, I don't understand how you can't look that up. Like, you Google everything else, but you can't Google children with cancer.
Okay, so let me
get all the time you need to Google that.
Let me get this straight. You made this comment when you said that diet and exercise will not prevent an unborn child from having cancer. That's what you're saying.
Yes, unborn children can exercise.
Okay, so you obviously wasn't commenting on nothing I said on my channel then.
No,
can we pull up the video that when you made the comment? Can we pull up the video when you made the comment so you can pone yourself, please?
Oh, I'm going to pone myself. Okay,
I have a channel too, and I'll do it later.
Man, one of us is in an advanced cancer biology course, and the other can barely wash his own dick. Just so you know, just so you're on there.
You're a liar, Dragnauct.
I'm a liar now.
Really. Whatever you want to call it. When I made my video talking about how diet and exercise will prevent a person from getting cancer, I was talking about people who was already in the world. You're saying that you made a comment regarding somebody who wasn't even born yet? Can I please see the video?
In that comment, ever since you
misrepresented. Can I see the video in question?
Yes. You can watch the last video I made.
They can see that you're a liar. Because I
go to the last video I made and I elucidate that point.
Dude, you already lost that one. So anyway,
I've already lost the So you acknowledge that people are born with cancer.
Where are your transitional forms?
So now we're on evolution now. So we switch topics. Right. I just want to make sure because in adult conversations, there's a segue. There's not just random grabbing of topics. You do know that, right?
Right. You said that people are born with cancer. That is not the issue. If you heard me on GTV, and I know you heard me, which is why you said the nonsense that you said on your YouTube channel, I was talking about people who are born already. Now you're what is you call that? Doubling down or something like that. Now you're going backwards and trying to say, well, I was talking about.
You mean backpedaling?
Who was alive already, even though that's what I was talking about.
That's what saying,
the babies already got cancer in the womb. That obviously diet and exercise can't help them. And by the way, the diet argument is baloney as well too. You do understand that there are reasons people get cancer, right?
Yes, I'm very familiar.
What are the reasons?
For instance, remember that whole well, you've talked. Let me finish. Let me respond before you jump over me. Remember that exchange you and I had where you didn't know that there was a genetic link to diseases? You remember that?
When did we have a conversation where I said that I didn't know that there was a genetic link towards diseases? Was that on GTV?
On GTV. I actually shared it quite a few times.
Can I see the context, please, of what you're talking about?
Sure. I will actually tell you
the comment we made that diet and exercise doesn't
it was actually around that time frame because Tommy Hall.
You said that an unborn child diet and exercise. Then you didn't even respond to what I said on my YouTube channel. I guess you do agree.
I did respond.
So you agree with me that diet and exercise does prevent cancer in the world.
So Gman, we can have that conversation, right? Because if you're talking about adults, and that's
you're going to college, dude. I'm not going to college. They're supposed to teach you this stuff.
So, do you want me to respond to you, or do you?
You know you messed up.
Do you want me to respond to you, or you just want to talk over me? Let me know when you're done emoting.
I'm not emoting. Just admit that you was wrong and move on.
Okay. So the claim from you is that people who are adults who are born, if they diet and exercise, they will not get cancer. Am I correct?
The comment that I made was that if you're alive in the world, okay, obviously I didn't even mention that. There's two people like you would understand that. I won't tell you anything about them. Okay, so what I said is that, and obviously I'm not the only person. You're doctors, and I was going to just replay it as you said that wasn't the case because you're not a doctor. They say that diet and exercise will help you prevent cancer because, for example, if you're eating, first of all, if you have a diet and high antioxidants, that's going to prevent you from getting certain cancers. I ain't gonna say all of them, but it will definitely prevent you from getting certain cancers. And obviously,
give you antioxidants, or
if you're working out and you're taking
stress
care of your body, it's going to prevent you from getting it too. And for you to sit in this room and say that you're going to college and don't understand or grasp that, dude, just admit that you're wrong and move on to the next topic.
So okay, let me respond to that then. So are you familiar with antioxidant stress?
Yes, you can put too much antioxidants in your body.
Okay, so you do know that can actually cause harm too. So there's that aspect. Okay, with that being said, when you're talking about something that can help prevent something and something that will not cause something, those are two different statements. You do realize that, right?
Sorry, could you repeat that again?
If I say that standing up will help with heart disease, for instance, I'm using an analogy. I'm doing what I tell other people not to do. If I say standing up will help prevent heart disease, and then I say standing up will prevent heart disease, you do realize that those are two separate, very different statements, right?
I understand that those are totally different topics, and they're not even remotely close to what I was saying. Now, tell me something. You also believe that eating apricot seeds is poisonous, right? Tell me something. Why is it that
you didn't get it?
Apricot seeds every single day, and he's still with us today?
Apricot seeds every day?
Every single day. Can you explain how that's possible and it's supposed to be poison to your healthy cells?
So how much amygdalin is contained in the apricot seeds that he's eating?
That's a good see. Now we're getting somewhere. That's a very good.
I know a little bit about toxicology, but then again,
well. Here's the thing. That's a very good question. So instead of you sitting there saying the Veckel, he's poisoning his body every day, perhaps you should reach out and touch someone and ask him how much he's putting in his body.
Who do you think told Veckel that?
Mexico. Hold on a minute. Why in Mexico they're treating their patients with this B17 and all this ingredient that's found in apricot seeds? So all the time. Consideration before you start going. Come on now, seriously.
Well, one of us has a stronger grasp of chemistry than the other. Let's point that out.
Because I'm gonna last an hour in here.
So yeah. I mean, you can posture all day long, but when we actually get to talking about these topics, it's clear that you don't actually understand what happens. Because
you just sat there and said how much of the apricot seeds, the milligrams that he was receiving of this on a daily basis. I said that was a good question. Then I said to you that it would probably be good if you talk to Veckel first before you start making comments like that. How the heck am I avoiding anything?
What I'm saying is, what you're trying to do here, right, is that you're trying to derive my level of knowledge on a topic that you can barely even talk about while you're posturing. The reason I brought that up is because neither you nor Veckel know the LD50 of amygdalin whatsoever, nor do I know how much is contained within the apricot.
What does that got to do with the previous statement?
If you let me finish talking, you might find out. It requires you to shut the fuck up every so often now, doesn't it?
Yeah, somebody's getting salty. Go ahead.
I'm just like you're upset that you're not getting the answer, but you're not shutting the fuck up. Like, how can you hear what I'm saying if you're fucking talking? Thank you. So the reason I asked you that question is that you brought up apricot seeds, right? Apricot seeds don't contain the same amount of amygdalin as the pills that he's taking. That's why I asked the question, because the LD50 of amygdalin is at a certain amount for an adult human. You would take more or less of the pills versus the seeds based on how many milligrams is contained within each. Hence the question.
So your big issue is how many milligrams they're taking. Again,
well, obviously that's what would determine whether or not you
and ask them how much he's taking. You just decided to make a YouTube video, like the troll you are, and then sit there and say he's poisoning his body without asking him how much he's putting in his body. No matter how it's going to go back to you having to admit that you were wrong.
Well, let me explain to you how toxicology actually works. Okay, you can poison yourself and have negligible effects. You do know that, right?
I know that you can put things in your body that at high levels that will affect your body in a certain way, and so it depends on your chemical makeup and like who you are, what disease you have. It just depends. Like, for example, high levels of vitamin C, I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, like if the levels are too high, I would assume that that wouldn't be good for you, and your body would either just get rid of the excess, or you can get certain poisonings from getting too much of anything in your system. But the point of the matter is, if you have a medical condition that requires you to have these high levels, it doesn't make a difference. You're not really poisoning your body. You're treating your body and giving your body something that it actually needs. You do understand that there's a difference between ADA and ODA, right?
ADA and ODA, please explain.
ADA is the, wait a minute, is ADA or no, it's RDA, I'm sorry, and ODA. There's the recommended daily allowance, and then there's the is it ODA? Yeah. Whereas the allowance, where you're allowed to actually go over, I forget what the O stands for, but it allows you to take more of what you actually need. So, for example, RDA will be like, okay, like you're supposed to take 100 milligrams of this a day, or you're supposed to take 50 milligrams of this, or 25 milligrams of that. The other one says that you can take 200 or 300 milligrams and it won't harm your body. It's a school of thought that says that your body will just get rid of the excess, depending on what it is. Like, for example, I wouldn't recommend you do that with certain minerals, because if you do, you can get really, you can really harm yourself if you do that. Like if you're getting too many,
like iron,
get too much like iron or something like that. You know what I mean? That's different. But when we're talking about this issue of B17, I personally believe, and I know that most of the people, even though they won't admit it, believe that you should find out what the levels of something is that a person is taking before you start saying that they're poisoning their body. And if you can't do that, and you're going to insist that they're doing this, and if that person takes it personal and comes in the room and says, okay, tell me what I'm taking, tell me how much I'm taking, and then you don't know, it's going to expose you as being somebody that's just doing this without knowing nothing about the topic. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm going to mute and let you respond.
Okay, so if you look in the side chat, I put in the definition from toxicology on LD50. Now, the way that poisoning works in most cases is that it stops something called cellular respiration. Your cells have to take in, we'll just say, an energy source in order to function, in this case, glucose, okay? If you have something blocking the cell's ability to do that, the cell can die. That cell death leads to necrosis, that what we can refer to as something being toxic. Now, the level at which something is toxic, again, refers to the LD50, and you can read the description of that in the side chat. Now, when I say that Beckel is consuming something that is hurting him, that is demonstrable. It doesn't matter what level he is being intoxicated. Well, I shouldn't say intoxicated. The level that he is consuming the toxic material, that the fact of the matter is, when you consume amygdalin, when you are a human being and you consume that, there is what's called a nitrile group attached to the far end of that molecule. That nitrile group gets cleaved off by an enzyme in your liver called rhodinase.
Right now, are you really serious about talking about this and going down this route?
I'm talking. Yes, I'm talking about the biochemistry about the topic that we're talking about. Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna let you finish, and then.
Okay, so are you following what I'm saying so far? Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah, I follow you, and you're talking to me like I'm an idiot or something. But anyway,
I'm talking. I was playing this on my channel. Okay, so do you already know about rhodinase then?
No, what I'm saying is that if you're saying that we shouldn't put anything in our body that's going to tox us, then how do you feel about chemotherapy?
Okay, we can get to that. Let me finish.
How do you feel about chemotherapy?
Let's finish one topic and then we'll go to the next one.
Cancer. How do you feel about chemotherapy?
Can we finish one topic at a time?
We're on the topic of toxicology.
Okay, we're talking about one substance. We're talking about one substance. Can we finish talking about one substance?
Done with that. I already said what I said with that, and I'm confident with what I said.
Okay, so you're confident what you said. Then tell me what my position is. You tell me what I was going to say. You tell me. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Tell me what I was going to say.
Tell me, do you believe it is toxic, which it is according to the definition that you're using, that chemotherapy or radiation being put in a person's body to destroy not only their cancerous cells, but their healthy cells as well? Okay. Whereas B17 has been shown to only attack the cancerous cells and not the healthy.
Just real quick, some of you are starting to notice that I actually walk him through the biochemistry of the. That's a funny screenshot right there. I walk him through some of the biochemistry, very, very basic overview of what happens with this substance that he wants to talk about. And the second I start asking him, do you follow what I'm saying? He changes the topic. Now, this is the same guy who gets upset when I tell people not to take him seriously. This is me taking him seriously, right? And I start specifically mentioning rhodonase, which is, I think it's called aminotransferase. I can't remember the actual classification of the enzyme, but I start walking him through that. And he wants to change the topic because he knows nothing about it. This is why I say no one should ever take him seriously.
Cells.
So I love that we're skipping all over the place. Let's talk about you know what a mechanism of action is?
No, I don't know the technical term of a mechanism of action. I do know this. I know that you just got finished talking about toxology, and I do know that you just got finished saying that if he puts this B17 in his body, he's toxic. He puts something toxic in his body, and it can become poisonous. So if you feel that way, then you got to feel that way about chemotherapy. I told you to stop talking about this and move on to the next topic. But if you want to keep talking about it, I can bring up tap water. I can bring up food. I can bring up a whole bunch of other stuff that people are putting in their bodies on a regular basis and breathing through their nose and exposing their skin to with the lotions and all that stuff that toxins their body on a regular basis. Do you really want to go there?
Yes, actually I do. I would love you to explain to me what happens in the body when something is toxic. You explain that to me.
Well, it depends. Does the person have illness? Do they need high levels of something? Or are we talking about a healthy person that has something in their body that is not that they do not need high levels of something?
So I'm talking about as far as we'll stay with B17. When B17 goes in your body and you have cancer, what actually happens to the molecule in your body?
It attacks the.
So the question I ask him is a bit of a test. I literally just explained to him what happens when something toxic enters the body with the cellular respiration example. I knew he wasn't paying attention, so that's why I asked him the question. All he had to do was repeat what I said, at least half-assed, and that would have been the correct answer.
Cancerous cells.
So it has a heat-seeking missile attached to it, or what happens to it?
I don't have to go into details about it. What I can,
you don't actually know what it does.
And well, actually, listen to me again. You think that memorization is supposed to be like this thing where okay, I know all the technical terms, and therefore he doesn't know what he's talking about. If that's going to be your strategy, dude, you're going to get killed in here today. What I'm telling you is that you got to deal with this, okay? Is that the B17, okay, attacks the cancerous cells. This is what research has shown, that it attacks the cancerous cells, that does not harm the healthy cells. If you believe otherwise, please explain to me why doctors are giving their patients this in Mexico. I've been asking this question for about a year now. Why are doctors giving this to their patients in Mexico and people are basically the cancers are going away? Please deal with that and explain to me how that's bad at the same time.
So you do realize that Mexico doesn't have the same type of medical industry or infrastructure that we have, right? You do realize that.
I understand that Mexico has a different medical system than we do, and in some cases, a lot of these foreign countries have better medical than we do. I mean, let's go here for a minute, okay? Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, they can give their patients donkey semen for whatever they want to, and claim it's actually effective. But when you actually go into a lab and you study these things, you can learn a topic called biochemistry once you get up there high enough. And once you see the mechanism, and that's why I asked you about that, the mechanism of action, you can see exactly what that molecule does in a cell. And I can tell you, when you consume amygdalin, it goes to your liver. There's an enzyme in your liver called rhodonase, and it cleaves off that nitrile group. That nitrile group turns into thiocyanate. That thiocyanate, that metabolite, is what's poisonous to you, because it ends up inhibiting cellular respiration through, I believe, competitive inhibition. All right, so this is a very, very ham-fisted explanation of what happens. There's actually a little bit more of microbiology involved in this, but this is a quick overview. Mind you, this is the second time I'm explaining how a substance becomes toxic to Gman, and then he still isn't actually listening to what I'm saying. So there's a reason you'll hear me repeat things when I talk to him 2 or 3 times, and then later ask him what my position is or what something is. It's just to check to see if he's paying attention. I said thiocyanate. I'll put it in the thiocyanate. There you go. Yeah, I think that's a metabolite. So the metabolite itself is toxic, and it pretty much clogs up the works, as it were, and it stops cells from doing what they need to do. So this is something that's been shown metabolically on numerous experiments, and it's something that's not. It has nothing to do with rhetoric or knowing the right words. It's about knowing the fucking topic and then actually having education and experience in these labs.
So what do we Americans do with horse urine?
You can swallow it, you can bathe it, you can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Oh no. I mean, your wife uses it, and I know other people uses it. What do they horse urine? What do they use it for? This is women in general.
I have no idea. I don't.
Use it to treat
is there a use for it?
So they use that to treat PMS, right?
Do they? I don't know. My wife doesn't take anything.
Pre-Maureen, and
so there's a compound in horse urine that's used for a drug.
Yeah.
That's not surprising at all.
Well, you just got finished saying that people in Mexico can give somebody urine, and that's their business. But we use all kinds of things in our medicine that would shock the average person that doesn't even know anything. As a matter of fact, then there's the information that these doctors don't even tell you when you're going to go see them, like all the worms that's in your anus, and that is and that is
in your anus
and in your scalp, and not in your hair. I'm sorry, I correct myself, not in your hair, but in your scalp and other parts of your body and whatnot. See, here's the problem with you, Dragnauct. You assume I don't know nothing about these things. I talk about God on here all the time. And that's the mistake that you make on here on a regular basis. There are a lot of Christians on here that before we found God or found Jesus Christ, for some reason, you just think that we don't know anything. You should check out the video I did yesterday because it showed just how idiotically stupid that is. You know what I mean? I had a life before I met Jesus Christ, and I had interest before I met Jesus Christ. And I know a thing or two about alternative health. I don't know everything, but I know enough. And I don't have to understand all of the nitty-gritty details in order to talk about these things. If that's true, then before you get on the plane, do you understand everything that there is about aerodynamics?
No, I understand how and I get your point that knowing the minutia may not be needed to have the conversation, but that depends on how far you're willing to take an argument. I don't know everything, but I'm also not making arguments about how planes should work more efficiently or why do planes work or anything of the nature. I know about this topic because I actually went and researched it. I actually went and read papers. I've talked to several people who have PhDs in chemistry who actually understand this. If you're telling people that this compound, right, is actually beneficial for them and it's having a particular mechanism of action, and I go and I look in the literature and it doesn't, then there's a problem. But then the people who are saying this have no education, no experience, and have no clue how basic chemistry works. There's a problem.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not sure you get the claims that I'm making on my YouTube channel. Again, I'm not trying to go into mechanisms and all those different things and whatnot. Obviously. I do explain what should be painstakingly obvious to the rest of the world if they actually went to school and learned any of these things. And the big difference between me and you, actually me, you, and everybody that follows you, and I want to say this again, everybody that follows him.
There's 100 people watching. Don't worry, they hear you. They hear you.
That's great. I don't care. So
yeah, right.
The people, I don't care. The people that are following you need to understand something. All right. I forgot what I was going to say.
Take your time.
I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, when it comes
big poopy heads, they just believe whatever they're told. Curious.
Yeah. That's what it was. A lot of you guys,
but I already knew that.
You can say you know it till you're blue in the face and whatnot. A lot of you guys just told things. Y'all don't do no real research outside of it. Like, for example, are you aware that the pharmaceutical company tells us things are true all of the time? That the FDA tells us things all the time. But when you look at alternative health, it shows you something completely different. Or if you look at the makeup of our bodies and how they function and how they work, that alternative health works a lot better sometimes than just taking antibiotics all the time. Antibiotics isn't going to solve everything all the time. And I
agree with you. I agree with you on that. No, I absolutely know. So people are aware of arguments from alternative health. I'm acutely aware. In fact, some of the claims, especially about essential oils, they have been tested, and some of them are effective. It depends on which ones and for what the disorder is. The problem is that the people who oftentimes advocate for alternative health know nothing about the mainstream health, and they run on conspiracies. And so because they don't have an education, they don't have any experience, they don't actually understand basic medicine, they all of a sudden believe the alternatives because that's easier for them to understand.
By understanding basic.
So when I explain to you so when I say understand, when I explain to you the mechanism of amygdalin, you had no idea what I was talking about. Yet you were telling me that the amygdalin somehow targeted aberrant aberrant cells versus regular cells. Well, you have no experience or anything to actually demonstrate that. You
understand everything.
So I think that's interesting in light of the conversation when there's nothing that you could do to actually, back that claim.
So you actually understand everything that comes to everything that comes with pharmaceutical medicine.
No, just amygdalin, just amygdalin. I know pretty well.
Though. So then, how can you listen to anybody when it comes to alternative health, or say that something in the pharmaceutical industry is correct or not if you don't know everything about it?
Because I can consult people who do, and I can test it myself. I can have the capacity to test it.
I can test it myself too because I've been.
You have access to a lab?
I've been a test dummy for many years, and then I found alternative health. For example, you'll be told by a doctor that if you ain't got no energy, guess what you need to do? What the alternative people will tell you to do: take vitamins, take minerals, and exercise. Or they'll try to give you a miracle antibiotic. They'll tell you that you got worms in your stomach. That's why you ain't got no energy.
I did mention that earlier, and I agree with you that certain physicians will give out antibiotics for anything, and that is an act. Believe it or not, that is something that you and I do agree with, and that should stop. And there's a reason. I think you and I disagree on the why. So if you've noticed, the tone of the conversation is changing a bit, and so is my posture. There's a reason for that, and it'll become clear a bit later. The consequence, but that is actually a problem. And so, yeah, I will say
why. I think me and you have it. You believe that when people talk about these topics, that at least this is what the way it's coming, the way I'm understanding it. And if I'm wrong, I'm just wrong. But it sounds like you think that people who talk about these things should know the mechanism for every little tiny thing that goes on and whatnot. And if that's true, then I mean, I don't know. Maybe I need to look into that and actually admit that I'm wrong about that, or if that turns out to be true. Because if that's true, then. And this is going to sound like I'm changing the topic. I'm going to get right back on the topic at hand and whatnot. And I believe that you guys should be able to study. Forget reading. You guys should study the Bible before you open up your mouth and say anything about it.
That's fair. That's fair. I think sure. I know I'm going to agree with you. Sure. If you want to talk about the Bible, I think that you should at least have read it. If you're going to talk about certain sections, read the sections, look at biblical concordances. Studying. Sure. Like I think that's fair, but I don't see the same type of rigor from folks on here who want to talk about science. Now, I don't think that everyone should take my path and have to go to a lab. By the way, do we need to help you replace that bat? That is really annoying. Like I cannot tell you how annoying.
I can't do nothing about that. The landlord can't either. I don't know what it is.
So I'm gonna tell you how to stop. Let's pause for. I'm going to tell you how. So he replaced the batteries and it's still chirping, right?
No, what has to happen is I think that the power has to go off and the wires has to be
there should be a button on there. If you replace the battery, unscrew it, and there's a button on there that you can press.
I know. I'm aware of the button. The button.
Okay. Okay. I'm just that is really annoying. Okay.
Yeah, anyway. Garbage smoke detector. That's what it is.
Okay, Karen. Okay, that's.
I was getting back on this topic of alternative health because like I said, I've listened to you talk about how I don't know jack squat diddly about what I'm talking about. And I still haven't been in this room for 15, 20 minutes now, and I haven't seen how I don't know anything.
Well, you didn't know the mechanism of action for amygdala.
I didn't know the mechanism. I don't have to.
You mentioned one about it attacking cancer cells versus healthy cells, but you stated it.
I don't know what I don't understand what LCT50 is. I mean, I got it right there in front of me now, but I can look up that later. But I don't have to know that to talk about.
These are the things that you reference. You reference topics and fields that people actively study. You've not even attempted to actually study this stuff. So,
and you study this topic of cancer.
Yes, I'm actually in school for cancer biology. Yes, I do study this actually.
Okay, so let's go back on the diet and exercise again.
Yes, that's fine. I'm comfortable there.
Person is eating a healthy diet and is taking care of their bodies. How are you going to sit there and say that does not prevent cancer?
Because if someone has a mutated form of one of the genes, but in particular BRCA2, you will get breast cancer.
Okay, so now we're talking about as something as I can't even say the word hereditary. It comes from their parents. Right?
It didn't have to. Most of the time, yes, that BRCA is hereditary. But if you just want to, we can talk about somatic, just random somatic mutations.
Let's talk about it being hereditary. What did the mom do?
It doesn't matter. The mom, you know what the mom did? If it's hereditary, the mom existed. She lived.
So at some point, you're saying that if you go back far enough, that somebody just got cancer for the sake of getting cancer.
Yes, it happens randomly. Yes, absolutely. So if you hadn't picked up, Gman doesn't actually understand hereditary genetics. At any point in time, does he actually have a comprehensive knowledge on just being born with like diabetes? Like that concept is foreign to him. In fact, that was referenced earlier in the conversation when he requested that I make a video about genetics, because at the ripe age of around, I would say 42, he just found out that you could be born with a disease inherited from your parents. No, I didn't make that up. No, I'm not being facetious. G-Man literally didn't know that. I'm not sure how he didn't know that, but most children understand that they have an aunt or an uncle that was born with some disorder that persisted way before them and another family member. Yeah, I just let that sink in. Yes, yes, thank you. Okay. Yes, G-Man. Every literally thousands of unique mutations in your body that make you unique.
Yes. Let's go 100 years back.
That's fine.
Right. Hold on a minute. Let's go 100 years back. What was the nutrition of people 100 years ago versus the nutrition of people today?
It was 100 years ago. It was probably less, honestly.
Yeah, they wasn't receiving the nutrition, right? Let's say that person 100 years ago was eating, I don't know, rabbit. They was eating deer and
rabbit, venison, buffalo, sure,
and things like that. And they wasn't preparing it properly. Some of them was probably eating it raw. That would not surprise me.
They would probably get illness
and things like that and whatnot, right? Because if you look in different countries, the United States has one of the highest cancer rates in the entire world. I know it has a lot to do with diet.
Yeah, so what type? Okay, so when
the population is obese.
Well, let's pause right there. So when you say that, that is true for most industrialized nations. That there are certain types of cancer, depending on the location, depending on the country, that there are colorectal cancer prevalence here versus non-Hodgkin's lymphoma here. And that's based on environmental factors. That's based on people's hereditary in the region. That's based on many factors. So you have to see if this was a random somatic mutation that elicited a change, or this was simply hereditary, and that it doesn't matter what they eat or breathe or live. You're going to
right, because if you live in a city and you're inhaling, well, let's say 100 years ago, that they're living in a city and they was inhaling all of this toxic material, of course it's going to negatively affect their lungs, or God forbid they were dumping a bunch of chemicals in the water and they were drinking that. That's 100 years ago, and then that person's according to what you're saying, would pass that down to their kids, and pass it down to their kids, and pass it down to their kids. My argument is, if you stop doing what your parents did, or you stop doing the habits that the person had prior to you, you are less likely to die of this, not die or get the same things. Even if your parents were diabetic, you're not eating a diet filled with sugar, you're not likely to get diabetes.
That's one. You know, there's two types of diabetes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the types of diabetes is strictly genetic. It doesn't matter. Your pancreas simply doesn't work. It doesn't matter what you consume. Yeah,
but there are certain foods that you can eat that will strengthen certain organs, depending on the type of food that you eat. And if you eat
what food strengthens a pancreas?
Now I understand what we're about to talk about right now is a bit debatable. I understand it, because right now what we're about to talk about regarding how to take care of our organs and whatnot can be a little debatable. But the point of the matter is, you can't eat a certain diet to number one, to help the stress of your liver, to help your heart remain stronger longer, to help your lungs function a certain way, to have a lot of hair constantly growing on you, your nails, and and having healthy skin and whatnot. I understand and I get that, but I also understand the other side of the argument that says that there are other things that you can do too. All I'm saying is that I'm a believer based on what I have seen. Okay, and I'm just being straight up honest, based on what I've seen, that if you eat certain foods and you take care of your body, you can prevent your body from having certain illnesses. And if you do get these illnesses, there are natural alternatives that you can use with the pharmaceutical company and the things that the pharmaceutical industry, with the things that they're saying. And there are all natural alternatives that you can use. Like, for example, in your area where you live, do you ever see people going out there running? And you see them when they finish
all
running?
The time, running, biking. This is a very active area, yes. But we also live near a chemical plant. There was a spill lately, so there'll probably be a prevalence of cancer in the next 10 to 15 years, if not sooner.
But I'm sure if you see somebody on a basketball court running, biking or whatever, that sometimes you'll see the salt on their face. But sometimes I get it, and I notice that my skin gets really dark when I get the salt. When I have a lot of like salt intake.
The darkness of the skin, that's a reaction from the light. That's something different. But yes,
that has a lot to do with not getting hydration, not getting enough water, not getting enough certain things in your diet and whatnot.
Skin pigmentation. I'm telling. Okay, from one black man to another, that has nothing to do with your nutrition. That is a reaction. That is a protective.
No problem with that.
That is a protective.
Problem debating that topic.
I'm just being real. Like, just all bullshit aside, that is a reaction that all of us who have melanin, that is a reaction that we have to light. It doesn't matter what level.
Your skin can actually get darker.
My skin can get darker. Yes, I actually turn 2 shades darker.
For a while, that when you're not getting enough water and your body is dehydrated and salt start appearing on your skin will get darker. The moment you start getting more water in your system and you start washing out all of the garbage that's in you or getting rehydrated, your skin will lighten up.
Now, this, if you look at the impression on my face when he's talking about this, I'm genuinely in shock at this point that he doesn't actually know why his own skin gets darker. It is really shocking that he doesn't understand the effects of the pigment that's been in his skin ever since he was born. Like, it has nothing to do with his hydration whatsoever at all. But I guess when he's inside rehydrating and not being exposed to UVB, UVA, right, like radiation, sunlight, whatever, that he didn't figure out that it wasn't the hydration that causes the darkening to go away. It's him being out of the fucking light. But this is Gman, right? This is his understanding of what happens in his own epidermis. Like, I just so happen to know quite a bit about this sort of thing because I was going to be working with a guy that was going to be making artificial skin. So I was doing a bit of research into all the different types of cells for the top layer of your skin. One of those cells so happen to be melanocytes, and melanocytes produce different types of pigments based on your genetics. And so you heard me mention eumelanin, and the other type of melanin produced is pheomelanin. So if you have G-man's skin color, you have a predominance of eumelanin as produced by the melanocytes. So white people typically have pheomelanin produced by the allele from MC1. Now, if you want to look more into that, feel free, but that's a little bit of the backstory of what I'm referencing there. And that's why I start laughing, because I just so happen to know a little bit about that. But G-Man thinks it has to do with the salt being deposited on his skin from perspiration. Yeah.
Not more. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of foods that you can eat to help your skin become more radiant and whatnot. If you eat a lot of what do you call them? Omega-3s, fatty acids. You include a lot of olive oil in your diet. You can put it on your skin too. It's a lot of things you can do because your skin will suck it all up. So again, you keep talking to me like I'm some type of idiot regarding this particular topic, and I'm sorry, I'm no idiot on this. I
don't think that you're well.
Scientist or whatever, but I know enough to talk about it.
I just think that you're mistaken on a few of these points. They're minor points, but I think you're mistaken on that. You do know that you and I both produce eumelanin, right?
Right.
Okay, so eumelanin produces two pigments, brown and black.
Right.
That eumelanin, right, is that those pigments have a signal cascade that can be elicited by light exposure.
Right.
Now, that exposure, that catalyst is needed for this cascade to happen to produce more of the pigment, has nothing to do with hydration or nutrition at all. That's simply a reaction to the stimulus, which is the light.
That has nothing to do with it. About can be accelerated if you're not getting enough water in your system.
That won't be the signal cascade won't be like it unless the cells themselves are dehydrated, unless the cells themselves are dying. That's not going to be subject to that.
Dark patches. The moment I decide I want to go out there and go do a 10-mile or a 15-mile run and I get dehydrated, you know what I mean? That's when you'll see the dark spots on my skin because it accelerates it. So if you don't believe that, I mean that's all fine. Well,
I mean, this is
that gives you an opportunity later to make.
I'll go and research that. I'll go and research that. Just because you said it, I will go and I'll look into that and see if nutrition somehow accelerates.
Not nutrition accelerates. Going out there, being dehydrated.
Being dehydrated accelerates pigmentation.
Yeah, being dehydrated will actually accelerate it.
I'll go consult somebody. That's not a problem. I'll go. So on that, the issue that I see, one of the sticking points is that it seems to I don't know how to phrase this. When you have a genetic issue, right, that can't be resolved with diet. Do we agree on that?
Yes and no. I would say more so with no, because again, if the reason why the person that you inherited this genetic disease from had bad habits and you don't practice those same bad habits, that there is more probable that you will not get the same thing that they're getting. We're talking about, let's say, for example, diabetes, and this person had diabetes and mother had diabetes, and they all had the same eating habits. They all got the same weight and whatnot, and they're more likely going to have the same thing. But if I come along, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't eat a lot of sugar, I get a lot of protein in my system, you know what I mean, and I take care of my bodily organs. You know what I mean? Which is not likely, because if you're related to these people, you're probably going to pick up certain habits. But if you are strong enough to change your daily habits, you're less likely to get what these people have gotten. You know, like you believe that diabetes is hereditary, don't you?
So there's two types. There's two types of diabetes, right?
I'm talking about the one where you get where you get diabetes.
Your diet immediately affects you getting diabetes. That's the one you're talking about.
I'm talking about the one where if you consume too much sugar,
yes,
your body will not create the insulin to be able to manage it.
Okay, yes. So my mother had that type of diabetes. Okay, right. So that I agree. Yes, absolutely. Your glucose intake will directly impact that type of diabetes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is a separate type of diabetes that has nothing to do with diet. In fact, people who are born with this type of diabetes, their pancreas does not produce insulin, or if it does, it's in such a low amount that it's not effective. And it doesn't matter what they actually consume. Okay. So
you're talking about born with this. I'm talking about someone who's alive and doesn't have it already.
Yes, no, I agree. No, we agree on that. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with you on that. 100%. I'm talking about specifically the claim that diet and exercise will fix the person whose pancreas is genetically not functional.
Okay, so if you're talking about the person that's born with it, then you're not talking about a person who has to develop it later on in life because of parents.
Exactly. Yes,
that's what I'm talking about, though.
Okay, so that's the separation here, because when we're talking about whether it's diabetes or whether it's cancer, the people who have the genetic predisposition for it, it doesn't matter what they consume, they're going to have the disorder.
Okay, so are you prepared now to tell your audience that you were wrong about me being an idiot when it comes to alternative health? versus I'm sorry, not alternative health, about what I say on GTV regarding alternative health, because
if you're playing, well, sure.
A lot for things that like I said, you get secondhand information. I don't get no call. I don't get a text. I don't get a comment. Well, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? I don't get an invite to a hangout. You don't come to none of mine, and I know why. You know what I mean? You don't do none of these things. Then you assume that I don't know nothing about these topics.
Okay, because
I know about evolution with you. I know about big.
Okay, so this this is going to be the end of part one. This has been an hour. So Gman is a little perturbed that he doesn't get invited to have these conversations. Now, I will ask all of you in the chat, based on what you heard for the last hour, do you think Gman understands okay, I'm going to try to make this as broad as possible. Do you think Gman understands health science? Just in general, do you think Gman has a strong grasp of anything within the field of health science? And I'll give you all a little time to actually respond in the chat. So we have no, he does not understand. Nope, no, nope, no. It's not an assumption. It's demonstrable. He doesn't know jack shit. No. Oh, hell no. No way. No. Yeah. No. Big no. No, he does not get it. He's 17. No. No. Fuck no. No. Very little. And a word no. Very shell no. Fuck no. Of course not. Drag. Nope. He's not even listening. Yes, he does understand a fucked artery at PhD. Let's fetch the here. He has a degree in nutrition. Of course, he's a Santo science. Double no. He needs some milk. No. He's male food babe. Nope. Hell no. I think he reviewed one of her videos at some point. He's an idiot on the topic. UTI. No, not even close. So, okay. I figured you all would enjoy that part because the entire conversation does not revolve around that. Sad to say, it was entertaining to me up until a certain point because I think it's around either now or in the next 30 minutes. I sort of just let him take the reins of the conversation because it just becomes too painful that I was actually shocked that he was this uninformed on the topic. This is sort of one of the holdout areas. I'll call it that. It was a holdout area that I thought, okay, maybe he actually does a little bit of research and he may know a little bit about this. He may surprise me. He surprised me in that he knows dick all. And I know I shouldn't be surprised given my history with him, but it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking that being black for over 40 years, he doesn't even know how his own skin works. I just, like, if he was a woman, it's like, I don't know where my own clitoris is. I guess that'd be comparable. Maybe. I don't know. But it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Go ahead and take a screenshot. Let me see if I can hide that, make this bigger. All right. Go ahead and take a There you go. So if you worked in the medical industry, or in the medical field, whatever, I know this was painful to listen to because it was a perfect opportunity for me to sort of try to recall a lot of biochem, a lot of stuff from, when I was doing my clinical rounds and in the clinic and in the hospital, different stuff like that. I enjoyed, having to try and recall that without previously researching it. But man, this was a struggle. I'm almost clear, and I understand melanin better than Gman. Yeah, it's not really hard to understand at all. It's not. It's actually a pretty fascinating thing to look into, especially when you talk about albinism and the different sets of genes that sort of all need to coalesce in order for you to have color in your eyes. But it's wow. So I learned a lot about hydraulics. Exactly. So on that note, I will bid you all adieu. You can return to watching Shani talk about everything and whatnot. We're going to try to see if we can get Chris to do a bit of audio video test. I don't really need to do video, but at least an audio test, and maybe give you guys a little sneak peek on what you will hear and see Saturday, because I know some of y'all are chomping at the bit. So read some last minute comments. I think I'm developing a theory on part reason why Gman is as ignorant as he is. Have at it. Have at it. I mean, go and GTV3 at gmail.com. Ask him. Just ask him. Ask him why he says stupid shit like this that can be easily researched and debunked. But he is if you didn't catch it, he's very confident about the things that he believes. That's sort of his litmus test on whether or not something is right. He bases it on his level of confidence. Well, G-Man is confident about damn near everything he says. So, and he's been absolutely fucking wrong about stuff. So that confidence is not really a good gauge on that. But he still uses it because he don't know no better. But all right, I will catch you all another time. Oh, I almost forgot to ask you. Almost forgot. People start heading out. Zombie Cop, would you rather follow G-Child advice or tankers? Ooh, that's tough. Tankers are at least somewhat competent. Are you all enjoying the random musings type of videos where I sort of record it and then just premiere it later? Is that something that you all fancy? Apollo Harris went live. Who was he saying?
Right?
Oh, he's still alive.
And so it was this one part where Chuck D was saying, it was saying like this, and let's look
He has old man glasses. So let me see. Let me check the chat. Yes, old daughter thought she was darker than her mom because she drank chocolate milk. Your daughter's silly, Robert Player. Your daughter, and then again, she's your daughter. Of course, she's silly. Yes, sure. Enjoy them. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep doing them. I forgot to ask people that. I was like, because they don't really take much for me to do, but I can set aside time to go through a Shaney video or maybe an old D-Roy video and do it, and then upload it. So, okay, I'll keep doing. All right. I think Alex may be going live today. I think you have to look for that. All right. I will catch y'all later. I remember. I don't like listening to anything about Shane. That's fair enough, Lamed. That's fair enough. There's somebody I know who can't listen to D-Roy. Doesn't matter how good the video, he just can't do it. So that's fair. That is fair. I don't fucking blame you, to be honest. Just don't be mad as Nuka Zeus was last night on the shit show. Tankers are always awesome. Tankers will be awesome when they purchase Lobster Bisque. Then I'll think about it. All right. Speaking of which, I need to check on the parents. I'll catch y'all later. There we go.